You have to stand up for yourself because the truth is, no one else will. 30 lessons for all those 7 years that I've worked in the call center industry. That's quite a lot, but if you are ready to listen, then let's get it on. Hey there Ninja, it's me again, Rhea. Today is a very special day, at least for me, because I am celebrating my birthday. But obviously, when I publish this, it's not my birthday anymore. So I want to share with you 30 lessons that I have learned from the call center industry. Maybe it's also nice to insert or inject a little bit of me in my videos and personal connection, because it's been a year since I've been making my videos, and I think that I have recognized most of you here who always comment on my videos, who always comment on my Facebook page, and I really appreciate it. And this kind of vlog or video is just my way of reaching out to you as a human being, as Rhea, and not necessarily as call center ninja. I know this is not your usual type of vlog, but I still want to share some value to it or add lessons to it, so that, you know, for every video that I have, you'll also learn something. So first lesson is you only have yourself to depend on. At the end of the day, whether you have friends, close friends, true friends or not in the workplace, you have to rely on yourself and be independent enough to work on your own without the help of other people, because you never know. The truth is, you will not be together every time. So even though you have a buddy system, you have a close friend at work, you will not be together every single time. So you have to be comfortable to depend on yourself, so that when worst gets to worst, you know, you can still survive even when you are just on your own. Lesson number 2, in relation to lesson number 1, I'd like to tell you that this is what I have learned the hard way. It's okay to be alone. I have a lot of acquaintances in the workplace in my 7 years of working in the industry, but I only have a few trusted friends. I can actually say that I only had about 2, 3, 4 friends who I really trusted with my life, but not so much, because I mentioned in the first lesson that you only have yourself to depend on at the end of the day. It doesn't mean that you are lonely, it's just that you are comfortable of doing things on your own. And it's also nice, you know, to spend some time for yourself, because you will be able to clear up things in your head when you have struggles and you have stresses. At least you can think without the voices from the external world or without the voices from your office. You can think clearly on your own. Lesson number 3, stand your ground. I have learned that the hard way, because when I was a trainer, just a little story, I was actually issued a notice to explain. It was a long story. And if you don't know yet, a notice to explain, or NTE, can lead to a warning progression. So you could be issued a warning if you were not able to explain your side appropriately. So during that time, you know, there were a lot of pointing fingers here and there, and who's to blame, who's not to blame. But at the end of the day, I stood my ground. I was able to explain my side. And yes, it was written on paper. I had to submit it to HR. The result was really good because I was not issued a warning at all. My record was clean because I was able to explain it. If I hadn't stood my ground and I hadn't defended myself, then I could have been issued a warning. So there, you have to stand up for yourself, because the truth is, no one else will. Lesson number 4, know the right people or network with the right people. Even when you are new, start knowing people around the office or the workplace. And even though you're an introvert, you can still do that. Not necessarily your teammates or your batchmates. You know, you can try to befriend the guards, the ladies who are cleaning your CR, housekeeping, the people from IT, because you never know when these people can actually help you. Well, I'm not saying that you're just befriending them because they might help you in the future. Well, you can, befriend them genuinely. When you know the right people, it will be easier for you to go about your tasks or your job. Lesson number 5. I have learned to wake up, stand up, dress up, and show up. So the lesson is that even though you are sometimes not feeling well, you don't feel like going to work, and you're just dragging yourself to work, I have still learned to show up for work on time, to not be late and to not be absent just because I feel tired or I feel lazy. In the real world, you cannot avoid that, but you also need to be committed and dedicated to your job in a way that you are able to contribute to the company the way they can contribute to you as an individual or as an employee. Lesson number 6. I have learned to stay away from occasions of sins and temptations. There can be a lot of temptations in the workplace. The temptation to spend money you don't have, the temptation to eat and overeat every single day, and temptations to be in a relationship with people you should not be in a relationship with. But who am I to say that? Basta, guess nyo na yan. Lesson number 7, know the rules. You know what? It's really right when they say know the rules so that you know how to break some. Because I did break a lot of rules back in the workplace, but at least I know the rules and I know how to work around it, should I say. Lesson number 8, experience is really a good armor. Actually, this is like a euphemized version of what my friend told me about the call center industry. He said that tenure is everything. Sometimes it can really be true. The longer you've worked in the call center or the company you've worked in, the better the benefits are, or the easier it becomes for you. Obviously, when you're still new, you're still going to have some struggles and how to go about your life in the call center. But when you are already in the call center for quite a long time, it's gonna be easy, and you will realize that it's not that bad after all. Lesson number 9, I have learned to be kind and to watch my words. I remember that I got into a fight with someone older than me because he got hurt with what I mentioned or what I told her. It just really went out of my mouth straight away, and I did not intend for it to be hurtful. But I admit that I did sound, oops, my camera. But yes, I admit I did sound sarcastic. And I actually said sorry to her, but she did not accept my apology. Even after I apologized twice or thrice, I guess. But after that, after a few weeks, she just spoke with me as if nothing happened. Lesson number 10, I have learned to not give up during the first few signs of hardships. Especially when you're new and let's just say your boss, your manager, your supervisor reprimanded you or scolded you because of something that you did not do well, or something like that. And it feels like it's the end of the world, but really it's not. You are being reprimanded because your supervisor or your superior wants you to learn and wants you to improve, or maybe change a bad habit or whatnot. I was a pretty good call center citizen back when I was working in the call center. But of course, when you're a trainer, sometimes there are things that you cannot do, and that's life. And there were also times when my manager reprimanded me and it felt like I did not want to go to work anymore. But you know what? You really just have to learn from your mistakes and move on. So do not quit just because you experienced hardships the first few times of your career. Because the truth is, you will always experience hardships every time. You know, that's just how life is. Lesson number 11, patience. I have learned to be patient with myself, with so many different people, especially when I was a trainer. I've learned to be patient with customers over the phone and with demanding bosses and demanding managers. I'm not saying my manager was demanding or whatnot, but there were some bosses who were a little bit demanding. You know, patience will really go a long way. Lesson number 12, I have learned to not expect anything. Or when I did expect something, I would just, lower my expectation because it was just easier that way. You know, when you expect too much from the situation, from an event, from someone, you will just end up getting hurt. And instead of that happening to you, then might as well just, don't expect for anything. Just go with the flow and see what will happen next. Number 14, very important, sleep is not for the weak. It is actually a necessity. Number 15, I have learned to be careful when giving away my trust. There were several times when I had trust issues with people, but that's because I only invite, good vibes into my life. So I'm pretty careful with the people that I trust, which I think is really, really important when you are in a workplace, because you would also want to guard yourself so that you won't get cheated on, and so that you can move on with your life, whatever happens. But that's not to say that you will not be friends with the people around you. Of course, you also have to give the people a chance to get to know you, but just be careful with the people you trust. Let's move on to our lesson number 16. Choose the people you will lend money to. Okay, piliin niyo yung mga pauutangin niyo, bes. Because, I have lent money to some friends before, but I wasn't paid. So my rule is that I will just lend money to people that I really trust. And when I lend money, I will only lend the amount that I can afford to lose. And at this point in my life, I can only afford to lose, the maximum amount is 500 pesos. So there. More than that, I'm sorry, but I would have to say no. Except if, it's my family, my mother, my father, or whatever. You know what I mean. Money makes or breaks your friendship. It's not good when you are in the workplace with someone that you lent money to, and then in the end, you will just be chasing one another. Or not really chasing one another. You are the one chasing that person you lent money to, and then that person will keep hiding from you, or maybe will just show his or her face to you, but will act as if nothing happened. So that's a really sad story for me, which is why I have learned my lesson the hard way. Lesson number 17, I have learned to nurture or develop other skills, which is outside the call center industry. When I was working in the call center, I was also blogging on the side, creating content, because admit it or not, you will probably not be working in the call center industry forever. So when the time comes that you have saved enough money and you are ready to move on outside the call center, just like how I did with my life now, I have moved on to the creative industry. At least you have the skills to move on to a different industry. Although I am still working partly with the BPO industry, I am now more on the creative side, like creating contents for websites, writing, making videos, still in customer service, but the bottom line is nurture other skills. Lesson number 18, enjoy but live within your means. So when I say live within your means, only spend money that is within your financial capability, if not below your salary level, at least equal to your salary level. But that doesn't mean you don't enjoy. When you enjoy, also think that you have to spend for yourself for the remaining days after your salary. So don't be a one-day millionaire queen or king, because it is very hard to live your life from paycheck to paycheck. And I have lived that way for the longest time, and it's not easy. So it's really good to have extra funds. Lesson number 19, take care of your tribe. And your tribe is your group of friends who are loyal to you and who you are loyal to. It's really nice to work in a workplace where you have friends that you can get along with and you can be yourself with. Lesson number 20, love yourself. Need I say more? Even if you are supporting a family, or even if you're the breadwinner, do not forget to have time for yourself and also treat yourself from time to time because you deserve it. Lesson number 21, I have learned that there is always someone who can replace you. So do good and don't act as if you know everything, even if you don't know everything. Because the truth is, even when you're gone from the company, someone can still replace you. Number 22, it's not the job, it's how you do it. So do not undermine your position as a call center agent or as a frontliner, because you are actually the bread and butter of the company. So whatever position you have, whatever designation you have in the company, you are important. And it's not the job that you do, whether you're a security guard, you're in the housekeeping staff, wherever you are assigned in the BPO or call center industry, it's how you do your job that matters. Lesson number 23, family and health are more important. When you have to choose between work and family plus health, choose family plus health. Because health is your investment. You will not be able to work properly when you're not healthy or when you are sick. And of course, trust me, family is the single most important thing, if there is anything more important in the world, because at the end of the day, they are the ones who will be there for you when things go wrong. So if you need to be absent from work, just explain to your boss or to your manager properly. And you know what? I have really learned so much about that, because when I was working as a trainer, there were several times when I had to decide between staying at home to rest and working, because sometimes nobody can take over my job or nobody can handle my class. But it really came to a point that I should prioritize my health first, because if I don't, I'd be really just sick as hell. Lesson number 24, and I have to be careful with this because I'm not sure if some of you actually do this, but I have learned that social media is the worst place to rant about your employment or about your boss. Because, first of all, it is unprofessional, and whether or not you are name dropping or naming that person or not, it is still unprofessional, because you are ranting on a social media platform when you could be discussing that issue privately with maybe your boss, your teammate, or anyone in the workplace. So resolve it professionally and not on social media. Well, that's just me. At the end of the day, it's your choice, it's your call. Number 25, I have learned to be confident. As what I always say, the problem with having no confidence is always coming up every time I read comments, emails, messages. But your confidence doesn't happen overnight. It develops when you are starting to work, when you're starting to get familiar with your work or your job. So don't expect to be confident right away. It just happens along the way. And just be positive that you can achieve that confidence that you need as you go along with your job. Lesson number 26, I have learned to be my own person. It is quite hard because when you are a trainer, for example, you have to wear different masks. Like, you have to be strict, not really super strict, but you have to be firm when you are in the training room, because you are the point of authority, but you also have to be approachable. So, in the course of my career as a call center trainer and as a call center agent, I have also learned to identify myself and to be exactly who I am, and just avoid acting like I'm somebody else when I'm not. So there, be authentic, be genuine, just be yourself. Number 27, we are almost done. Hard work and commitment go a long way. So when your efforts do not pay off right away when you start, don't worry, because that's normal. Success doesn't happen overnight. So just work harder, work smarter if you may, and commit to your job. Sometimes you may feel nothing's working for you, but trust me, eventually you will find it. Number 28, I have learned to deal with different types of people from different walks of life. Sometimes, even though you don't really care about certain people in your life, you will be put in a place wherein you will be privileged enough to know different types of people and their struggles, and it will really make you grateful about your life as well. So if you get the chance to know someone personally, maybe outside of work, then treasure that moment and just be grateful that you get to know that person, as you can learn something from that person, and maybe that person can also learn something from you. Number 29, I have learned to know when to stop. It's quite hard because when you are caught up in, so much work, you don't really know when to stop. Like, you're so tired, or maybe you keep trusting the wrong people, but eventually you will learn to say no, 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 stop. I cannot be a yes woman forever. I also have to learn to say no and prioritize myself sometimes. And number 30, if you're still here at this point, comment below if you've reached number 30. I hope you're getting some value with this video. So, number 30, I have learned that life is unfair. And it is okay, because that's just how life is. You will not always get what you want. You will not always have it easy. There's always going to be ups and downs, but it's just a matter of your perspective. I've said this before and I will say it again. The only difference between a good and a bad day is your attitude. So I guess that's the end of the 30 life lessons, and I hope you've learned something from this video. So if you like this kind of content, don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't yet, and remember, I have videos every Wednesdays and Fridays. See you again next time. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever. I hope you're happy wherever you are right now. See you and take care.